German, I'm going to look into with my team the geotagging. That was another question I wanted to ask. The metadata of an image, such as location, EXIF, creation date, can this be changed using with and how are there companies online that can do this? By the way, with ChatGPT 5, if you ask it to do deep research, it'll actually do deep research now. Please do some deep research on the best companies that allow us to change the metadata. While that's doing the research, Debbie says, sounds like tomorrow I need to set up a second agency as well as work on getting these elements. Why start a second agency? If you already have an agency site, then use that to create the G Suite, right? Felix says, for me, I just let the verification fail and then get suspended, then fight them in the email. It's not part of my workflow. Felix, were you able to get some of those listings verified? I know last week you were saying you were hitting them up for a week straight. That's ultimately the backup plan, what Felix mentioned. However, what if we can nail all these factors, the whole rigmarole with going back and forth with Google by nailing all the image, nailing the IP, the browser? Felix says not yet right now. I think it will take 6 to 8 weeks, but I have DBA them all. Okay. Again, I think that process requires a human staff, which is why it's going to take longer. Andy says, is it recommended to not use Google Search Console? I thought Dan said a while ago that it would leave a footprint. Yep. In my opinion, I don't know, maybe that was taken out of context or a different context, but in my opinion, we want to create that footprint because we want to signal to Google that, yes, this email account is the business owner's email and it's tied to the actual business website that I own as the business owner. So the Google Search Console, in my opinion, is the thing that you want to create. Now, I think what Dan was referring to is if you have your personal email and you're attaching Google Search Console to all the 10 different lead gen sites, you're using the other Gmails to try to get the map listing. Suddenly, that's a bad footprint because the Google Search Console is attached to a different Gmail than the Gmail that you're trying to verify the GBP. If they still ask for live verification, I'm prepared as well, but this will take a long process. But I feel like at this point, every GBP I build now will have to be fought over at some point, especially roofing. I have roofing sites for your Chicago client, but none of them has GBP yet because of this. When doing Google Search Console, does the IP address need to also be in the location for the website? The IP, because this is the business where we have to pretend like we're the business owner of that Gmail to verify that map listing, it is ideal if the activity of that Gmail is taking place in that IP of that business. So Felix says, Aaron Hall, it's fine. Just do one email for each GSC. Fox News, CNN has thousands of websites with GSC all across. Look for big companies with thousands of websites and sister companies. Yes, that is true to an extent. If you're an agency and you manage all these different websites and you're going to have GSC on all of them. However, for this purpose, we're not using GSC because we want to see the metrics. Although GSC is really great for looking at metrics, we're using it to create extra trust signal to Google. So that this is the point of the GSC that we're doing, what we're talking about, what we're trying to do. And we can even ask ChatGPT about that after, but let's take a look at what they said here. Short answer, yes. EXIF, IPTC, XMP, metadata, including GPS location, capture time, camera, make, model, can be edited or removed with software. Below is curated up-to-date list of reliable tools, plus quick how-to notes and caveats. I guess I can share this entire chat with you guys. I'll put it in the description of this live. Yeah, this is not difficult for software to handle. You got all these different tools in here that can do it. Now, I think it's wise to use the same camera make model for all the pictures for one particular GBP. Obviously, the GPS location. I would put maybe some at the business location, but probably not. If it's a roof, pick a geo coordinate of different houses or addresses in that city. Now, the question is, how do we get original photos? Drive around your city, go around your neighborhood. This is what I would do. I would start taking photos of window niche or roofing niche, start taking photos of various roofs, windows, driveways. I should send all this in notes as well to all my partners. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this live and I'm going to make a summary of the entire live and I'm going to send it to the partners / anybody that needs it. Capture real on-site photos for bulk automation. ChatGPT has studied Google's terms of service thoroughly. This is why ChatGPT helps a lot when it comes to these very specific things. And now again, AI can't do everything, right? You have to be asking AI smart, subtle questions like this, and then you get great answers, right? So it still requires an expert, which all of you guys are experts in this field. Don't be afraid to use ChatGPT to get to the nitty-gritty details, right? That's a sharp insight. Connecting Google Search Console to the same Gmail you are using for GBP can boost trust in Google's eyes. Entity alignment. Google looks for a strong link between GBP, the website, and the Google account that manages both. If the same Gmail owns the GBP and is verified in GSC for the company website, that creates a stronger entity association. Verification cross signals. GBP already cross-checks the linked website domain. If Google also sees that the same Gmail has ownership in GSC, it reinforces you truly control the business website. Spam reduction. One of Google's biggest anti-spam heuristics is whether the business has a real website that it controls. Linking GSC confirms domain ownership, which is much harder for spammers to fake than just spinning up GBPs. Easier problem resolution. If GBP ever gets flagged or suspended, Google support often looks for connected Google assets, GSC, analytics, Tag Manager. Having these connected under the same Gmail improves credibility during reinstatement. That is a very interesting point. Yeah. So this makes me believe that a G Suite email might be one of the best ones to use. And then attaching GSC, analytics, and tag manager into that G Suite. Add the business website to GSC under the same Gmail you'll use for GBP. Use domain verification if possible. It's the strongest ownership signal. Okay, which we can all do, I believe, if you own the domain via DNS TXT. Link the website to GBP under website field. Add Google Analytics, GA4 under the same Gmail. That stacks even more trust signals. Make sure the website has proper business schema and the same NAP info as GBP. Obviously, we do that. This isn't silver bullet that guarantees auto verification. If Google requires postcard video or doc verification, you'll still need to complete it. If the website is thin, spammy, or mismatched GBP details, connecting via GSC can actually hurt trust because it exposes inconsistencies. Yeah, obviously, the website has to match the GBP. Bottom line, attaching GSC to the same Gmail as your GBP does help with signal instances. My client has a brand new company. Is it more trust signal if he uses his personal Gmail that he has history with, or is it better or just as good to create a new G Suite email to create the GBP? Yeah, the short answer is both personal Gmail history and a business G Suite email have different trust benefits. Google trusts aged Gmails, clean history, logins, normal usage. Long-standing accounts are less of a spam account with digital footprint, YouTube, map contributions, Drive docs. That adds to credibility. New G Suite looks professional. Clearly, entity connection between domain, email, Gmail, a website. Easier for scaling. You can grant, revoke manager access without touching personal Gmail. Agencies, Google support. Like seeing business domain emails tied to official assets. Risk, brand new workspace accounts have no history, so by themselves, they don't carry the same age email trust signals. If the business domain is also brand new, Google has fewer cross signals to validate authenticity. Domain age, backlinks. So this is why we at least age the domain 2-3 months before going for the GBP. Now that I'm thinking even a better process is as soon as the website is built, have the IP, have the multi-login, create the G Suite account from day one, and then log 2 to 3 months of some activity on that G Suite, right? With the static IP. That would, obviously there's a little bit more cost associated with that, but that would, I'm sure, be the cleanest way to do this. Best practice combo. The strongest setup for a brand new company is usually create a GBP with the client's personal Gmail. If it's aged and clean, this gives you a baseline of trust during verification. Immediately add the new G Suite business email as additional owner. This ties the GBP to the company's official domain while preserving the personal Gmail's aged account trust. Okay, that's interesting. You can add the secondary owner as the G Suite. Uses the business G Suite as primary operational email. Keep the personal email listed as backup owner in case of recovery needs. For verification and trust, aged personal email is usually stronger. For longer term business management, G Suite email is cleaner and more professional. When we say aged, we can't think, oh, it's got to be aged like years. We're talking about new companies, so they're not going to be aged. A lot of times can mean 2 weeks. 1 month of activity could significantly tip the odds to our favor, right? As long as it wasn't created that day and you're trying to verify the map listing that day. You see what I'm saying? Because Google works by algorithms, right? So Google is gonna try to weed out the most obvious, which is creating the G Suite that day and you're trying to verify that day. Great nuance. You're exactly right. Google can absolutely tell if a brand new G Suite and brand new Gmail appear on the same day. That looks a lot like spam. Let's break down what age actually means. Day 0, no history, no recovery info, no logins from consistent IP address, high risk. First 1 to 2 weeks, if you add real usage, sending, receiving emails, calendar events, Google Drive files, that's interesting. We can add some Google Drive files about roofing, maybe some of the images, whatnot. YouTube logins, we talked about that before. Maybe Search Console ownership, the account starts to build normal user profile. This does help reduce suspicion. Accounts that are consistently active for a few months are far less likely to trigger red flags. Google has seen stable IP device patterns, real usage across multiple Google services, and possibly interaction with external logins. 6 to 12 months with history at this stage considered seasoned. If it's been used normally, not for spam, Google sees it as very trustworthy. Again, guys, for new sites that we're building, this is good process. We can potentially get map listings verified without the video verification. I'm going to be testing 1 to 2 weeks of age with G Suite. How much does a week help? 1 week of activity is better than 0, obviously. A 2 week of activity isn't the same as age. It's like a brand new passport with one stamp versus one that's been used for years. Aged typically means months, not days. If a business is brand new and urgent, use client's aged Gmail for initial GBP verification. So if you guys are like my partners and you're listening, I think the best route is to get you guys these residential IPs. Use the Gmails that you have, your personal Gmails, your husband or wife's Gmails for the other listing, and any other Gmails that you've owned for extended period of time for all the other map listings, and verify it that way with an age Gmail. In the meantime, let's say you have 10 done for you lead gen sites with me. Let's say you do 5 of those with age emails that you already own. The other 5 will create G Suite emails right away with the IP and start logging some activity. And set up workspace email and let it build history. Build all G Suite emails as well. And then you can transition to co-owner. Even if G Suite is fresh, stacking signals can accelerate trust. Google Search Console, Google Analytics, Google Tag Manager, add recovery phone, engage in normal Gmail activity, not just create and be idle. Those all give account more legitimacy in Google's system. Bottom line, when I say age, I'm talking about months of consistent usage. Now, does it have to be every day? No. Couple times a week. Yeah, for the new GBP safest path, start with an aged personal email, then layer in the workspace account after it has some real history.